Coming up, a shooting and barricade situation in Floyd County. Several officers are injured in the line of duty.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We continue to follow breaking news in Floyd County, where several police officers have been injured in the Allen community and taken to different hospitals. We are still waiting for police to release more details, but we do know the suspect is in custody. WYMT's Dakota Makris joins us live near the scene with what we know so far. Dakota?
Steve, good evening. Yeah, this is about as close as I can get. And as you said, Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt told us a little bit before we came on the air at 11 that as of 10 o'clock tonight, the suspect involved is in custody. Now, Steve, let me set this scene for our viewers. This is still a very active situation right now. And when I got here around 9 o'clock tonight, multiple agencies from across the region were here. Many are still here. Now, Sheriff John Hunt told our sister station, WSAZ, that officers were serving a warrant. That is when the incident happened. And Steve, like you said, the sheriff told us that some officers were taken to several different hospitals. Now, at this time, we're not speculating, anything like that. We don't know if there's been injuries or what is going on exactly right now. We have been in contact with the KSP Ashland Post Public Information Officer. He's been updating us here and there, but at the last time we talked with him, he said it is still a very active situation, and of course, we don't know the latest on those officers or who else could have been injured in this. So live tonight in Floyd County, I'm Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Dakota, I understand Governor Beshear just tweeted about what happened tonight. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Steve, he said, quote, "Tonight I asked the Commonwealth to join Brittany and I in holding Floyd County in prayer, especially the family and loved ones of those who have responded to a barricade situation involving a shooting," end quote. And of course, like I said, we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Again, I'm live. Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
And Dakota, we still haven't heard directly from state police yet. Have we been told if they plan to hold a news conference or anything?
Steve, we've talked to the trooper on scene maybe 3 times, I'd want to say, and he has not indicated a news conference or anything like that. But if he does want to do a news conference or anything, we of course will bring it to you live on the air and on Facebook.
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. And again, if we do hear from police before the end of the newscast, we'll take you there live. Just come back to me real quick. I just want to recap what we do know. We'll let Dakota go. And I do want to recap what we know so far because we have received some new information in the last hour. We do know that the barricade situation is over. The suspect is in custody. Now, what we've been told by the Floyd County Sheriff. We have not heard from state police yet, but this is from the Floyd County Sheriff, John Hunt. He confirmed with us that deputies were attempting to serve a court-issued warrant in a domestic violence situation when this incident started several hours ago. We've been following this now for quite some time. That's when the officers responded. The suspect opened fire. We don't know the suspect's name, but again, he is in custody. The Sheriff Hunt told us several officers, that's his words, several, we don't have an exact number, have been taken to different hospitals and were injured. As far as we know, there has not been a fatality. We know there's lots of rumors going around, but no fatalities have been confirmed. We're just told directly from Sheriff Hunt that several officers were taken to different hospitals, possibly from several from different agencies. We don't know a breakdown of that as well. So obviously there's a lot of information that we do not know still at this late hour. But again, we are continuing to follow the situation. And if there is a news conference, if we get some updates before the end of this newscast, we'll go back live to Floyd County for the latest. So stay right here as we continue to follow this tragic situation. Hopefully it won't turn into a really tragic situation, but obviously several officers have been hurt in the line of duty tonight. Let's look at some other news across the region today. A hit-and-run investigation has closed in Floyd County. 60-year-old Larry Hinkle was hit and killed by a vehicle driven by 27-year-old Kyle Collins 5 years ago. Collins was charged with fleeing the scene and was sentenced today to 5 years in jail. Larry Hinkle's son Jody says this has been a long time coming.
To lose your father and not know why, that's what I couldn't accept.
Collins will get credit for almost 2 years in custody and will be eligible for parole in 2 months. A judge has found that former President Trump is no longer in contempt of a New York court for failing to comply with the state attorney general's subpoena. New York Attorney General Letitia James's office has been investigating the Trump Organization and reviewing its financial statements for more than 2 years. As part of that investigation, the former president was held in civil contempt in April for failing to comply with a subpoena for documents. A New York Supreme Court judge said he reviewed additional documents submitted by Trump and that those, along with other conditions needed to lift the contempt order, were sufficient in making his decision. Those other conditions included Trump's payment of a $110,000 fine, as well as sworn statements on the Trump Organization's handling of documents. It was a busy day inside and outside the U.S. Supreme Court, which delivered another high-profile ruling on Thursday. CBS's Natalie Brand is there with the details.
Capitol Police arrested more than 180 people near the U.S. Supreme Court as abortion rights activists continue protesting last week's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Speaking in Europe, President Biden called on Congress to codify abortion access by carving out an exception to the Senate's filibuster.
The one thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States.
In the final day of its term, the court's conservative majority dealt a blow to the president's climate agenda, limiting the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions.
Climate change is occurring now. We need to act now. So I think ultimately this just puts pressure on the Biden administration ultimately to start moving.
Thursday was also the final day for Justice Stephen Breyer, who retires after 28 years on the bench. His former clerk comes onto the court after a historic swearing in.
I, Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson becomes the first black woman to serve on the nation's highest court. Dean of Howard University School of Law, Danielle Holly Walker, says Jackson's background as a former public defender and working mother will have an impact, even though her addition doesn't change the court's ideological makeup.
I think she will bring that kind of spirit to our Supreme Court, which is desperately needed with the Supreme Court's approval levels being at the lowest in their history.
In its next term, the Supreme Court is expected to rule on more hot-button cases, including affirmative action, voting, and LGBTQ rights. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
Well, as mentioned in that story, a big ruling today involving the EPA from the Supreme Court. In a 6-3 vote, the court sided with the state of West Virginia in the case against the EPA. Many Kentucky Republican lawmakers supported the ruling, but one Supreme Court justice said it strips the EPA of the power to respond to climate change. Here's what Senator Mitch McConnell had to say.
I'm not an expert on the coal market. I do know that there's been a temporary pickup in the coal market because of the need in Europe for more coal as they've moved away from their totally green policies, which made them too dependent on the Russians.
AEP officials said, quote, the Supreme Court's decision will not impact our continued progress on transitioning to clean energy and reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Kentucky Power does not own coal plants in the Commonwealth. Well, questions are being raised in Clay County after an important part of a roadside veterans memorial was stolen. Glenn Stanfield died in a crash on the Hal Rogers Parkway in 2004. He and others were on their way to training in Barberville when the Humvee he was in collided with a tractor trailer. He would later be posthumously promoted to sergeant. The people who maintain this memorial say they just can't understand why someone would steal American flags from the memorial.
I don't know, just soreness. They probably saved them for appeal or something, I don't know.
Gay says he has secured the flag better this time, which he hopes will be a deterrent in trying to steal it again. Well, it's a very sad news day, and it's also a sad anniversary for us here at WYMT.
With the news, Tony Turner and Joanne Ball. 57 Mountain News at 6.
Good evening, everyone.
20 years ago tonight, WYMT station manager, news director, and 6 o'clock anchor Tony Turner died at UK Hospital. He was critically injured in a traffic accident earlier this month. We need to go back now to Floyd County, where I understand a news conference may be getting ready to take place involving that shooting incident earlier where several police officers were injured. Our buddy Forbes is there. Buddy, can you hear me? Okay, I was just told that we could be getting ready for a news conference. So we'll try to hold on here for just a second. It looks like they are getting ready to do something. Let's just recap, and you can see the scene is still very active there in Allen. This is in Allen, Floyd County. We have both Dakota Makris and Buddy Forbes there. It looks like they're getting ready for whatever is about to happen, some sort of news conference, and we hope to learn a lot more about what's happened here tonight. But we can tell you, if you just joined us late, that state police are investigating a shooting in Allen in Floyd County where several police officers have been injured. Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt confirmed with us that a suspect was in custody as of about 10 o'clock tonight. Sheriff Hunt also told us that deputies were trying to serve a court-issued warrant in a domestic violence situation when this incident started earlier this evening. It was way before dark when this started. It's been going on for several hours now. The suspect opened fire when officers responded, and Sheriff Hunt added that several officers, we don't know exactly how many, but we were just told several have been taken to different hospitals around the region. The extent of their injuries not known, and we do not know what agencies these folks work for. If it could be different agencies, but all we've been told so far is that several officers were taken to hospitals around the region. Police urge you to avoid this area still, as obviously there's a heavy police presence. As we await this news conference, it looks like it still might be a few minutes. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back with more.
Hey, I'm returning your stuff. Your motor oil, your paint, and all your other